Hey everybody, it's Vanessa, the Crafty Gemini. Welcome to episode number 182 of WIP Wednesday, where we are doing a show today, basically a continuation of last week when the power went out here because a storm knocked it out. It's a little overcast. The sun is kind of like half out, half behind the clouds, so it's not raining though. So hopefully we can stay connected on this episode here and we won't have to deal with any power outages during hurricane season here in Florida. So welcome to all my friends that are tuning in. Let's say hi to some friends just to make sure that y'all can see me and hear me. Hi Lynette, hey Kay, tuning in from Jacksonville, just up the road from us here in North Central Florida. Hi Barbara, hi Maureen, thanks for tuning in everybody. Let me know if you can see me and hear me. Windless Original says, I'm almost done with my Florence. I'm wearing one of my Florences here, and this is a linen rayon blend I think we had. I'm obsessed with this shirt, y'all. I have 3 of them, a 4th one partially made, one of the dress options, and I think that's it. So I'm definitely going to be making more. I feel like how I used to feel about knit t-shirts is now how I feel about these breezy kind of like linen, rayon-y button-down shirts. It's super breezy. I've worn it with black pants and like dressier shoes. I'm wearing it with jeans today. It's super, super comfy. Hi, Barbara. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you for telling me that you can see me and hear me. I went ahead and put the link in the video description box for those of you that are watching here on YouTube. And if you're watching me on Facebook, then it's also in the caption there. I put the link for the sewing pattern for those of you that, can read a sewing pattern and just sew it up yourself. If you need a little bit more help, I have a step-by-step video course that we also sell in our shop on this pattern, and it walks you through from everything from reading the size charts, understanding everything, taking your measurements to choosing out the right size, tracing the pattern, cutting out your fabric, and stitching the whole thing up, including the buttonholes and installing the buttons, everything. I can't remember how many video lessons there are. There are a ton, probably like 20 plus. And so that one is there. So we put the hard copy pattern that we still have in stock. This one you can see that I did go ahead and install the pockets on the front. So cute. I also have one, of course, that without the pockets, and you can choose, whether you want to put it on or not. Thank you, Zena. She says, loving your braids. They are super comfy. These knotless braids, they're not as heavy as I remember braids being when I used to get them. They were a lot heavier. And I also had a lot more hair then too. All right. Let's see. Cheryl says, can you give us some suggestions for good sources to find more of these kinds of fabrics for the Florence, but also good knit source? So it's going to depend. I mean, I often mention some different places like Fabric Mart Fabrics. Girl Charlie is back on now, and they sell a lot of knits. Some great variety, both for like sweater knits and kind of like a little bit loftier, heavier knits to just your regular cotton spandex, that kind of stuff too. Whenever I release a new video course on a garment, we usually have kits in a few different options so that people know, hey, this fabric will work. And if you need like buttons or elastic or whatever it is, we usually include it in there because I know it's kind of trickier to source things, especially if you are not able to go to a store and touch it with your hands, especially for garment sewing stuff, because I feel like a lot of the different quilt shops that are out there don't necessarily also cater to garment sewists, right? So we do try to do that. And so when I release my next online course for garments, I'll also have kits for that. For the Florence, though, I think we have some kits. I linked them below as well. We have some kits left for like a blue cotton chambray fabric that's left. Also, we have some kits left of that, and that is linked below. Thank you, Maureen. She says that color is beautiful on you. It is, and I love it. I saw somebody else today with a similar skin tone to me purchase a fabric that literally was like almost the exact same color, rust, and I think it had black lines instead of white. Not the same design here, but like that color combo where the majority of it was the rust color, and I was like, that's gonna look so good on her. I need to get my hands on that fabric too because I would love it. So, so cute. And of course, it's breezy, this linen rayon blend. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. We are basically picking up where the storm cut me off last week. So let's give everybody the over-the-shoulder camera shot. Oh, real quick. We have some sneaker kits back in stock, y'all. So we did go ahead and put some sneaker kits back in stock. For those of you that are maybe just now signing up for the sneaker class, if you want to get the soles and all that, we have at least one color, I would say, in almost all the sizes. At least that was earlier today. They always go quick. We've restocked about 5 times now, and they always sell out. So just be patient with us if you're not able to, check your email often enough to get the notification, and then when you check, it's sold out. So we'll keep restocking as we can. Okay. Yes, Winless Original says she has the blue chambray and it's lovely. I have that blue chambray too. I made my sister one of these in that color fabric as well. It's not as drapey as this, but it's also a good source. You know, when you look on the back of the sewing pattern, it tells you a few different fabric recommendations. A lot of people get confused because they're like, well, this said that this fabric would work, but it didn't look like the model on the cover of the pattern. Well, when they give you a variety of fabrics, that means all of these would work, but that doesn't mean that they're all going to look exactly the same. So depending on the weight of the fabric, the fiber content, as well as the drape and how soft and drapey and airy it is, that is going to give you the finished look when you're wearing the top. Y'all have seen me even last week, right? Last week I was wearing another Florence in last week's video, and it has a little more structure than this one because it's just a different fiber content. That one was a chambray that was more on the lightweight side of chambrays. We have some that are a little bit more towards medium weight chambray. So yes, they are both 100% cotton. They're both considered chambrays, but I think that's part of why it's important to be able to see and or feel the fabric, because you have to understand how that fabric is going to drape over your body to determine how stiff it's going to look, like how much shape it's going to have based on the seams and the structure of it, or of the design of the pattern, or how much it's going to like cascade over your curves, right? So, and that's part of it. That's why we need to keep making the clothes so that we can, the more projects we make, the more sewing patterns we work with, the more different shapes we are able to whip up, the better you will be able to further understand how fabric acts, right, on the body. Okay. All right. Hi, Zena. She says, I need a size 39. 39 for soles or 39 for a full supply kit? Check and see, because I'm pretty sure we have some 39s in there, Zena. I'm not sure if all the colors, but I think we have some left. Hi, Jamie. Thanks for tuning in. All right. Lynette says, what does that sign say behind you? That sign says, stop wishing, start doing. That little sign back there. That's what it says. All right, let's go ahead and give everybody my over-the-shoulder camera shot here, and let's jump right into these sewing patterns. I went back to re-watch the episode from last week, and I was like, let me see how many patterns I was able to cover. Only 3. So we have quite a few here. I'm going to try to get through all of these today because this is the stash that I pulled out from my overall big pattern stash to kind of go through. I'll start over here. Why not? And these are old patterns, okay? So if you have them, or maybe if you like what I'm talking about here and you want to try and find it, good luck. You know, you can check on simplicity.com. I think they have all the different brands there now since we can't go to Joann's anymore, RIP, and see if you can find them. But this is a Learn to Sew for Fun. This is like one of those easy kind of patterns, and it's supposed to have all these different looks. There's 5 looks. So this is like a raglan sleeve kind of tunic length option here. This is the longer sleeve raglan, still longer version of the dress. This one here is the same dress but with the shorter sleeves. They're like little raglan sleeves, which is the one that the model is wearing here. And I actually kind of like that look, even if not for the dress, for a t-shirt. I think that looks super cute, where it doesn't cover too much of the biceps and it's just kind of like a little bit at the top. I think that would be nice and breezy here, especially for our hot climate in Florida. D here is long sleeve, longer length, so like a full length dress. And then you have E, which is kind of weird for this combo, but they threw it in there, and it's leggings, I guess, to kind of have it go with the A option, which is the tunic. This obviously is for stretch knits. It's giving, you know, t-shirt, dress. And so if we have a look at the back here, and I pulled this one out just because I liked the look of the short little cap raglan sleeves like that. But you know what? For fall and winter, I think that longer sleeve, it's still raglan, right? So if you are someone who likes the way the raglan sleeves fit you, or they fit you nice, this is kind of a cool combo here to have it in short sleeve and longer sleeve, tunic, a longer dress, and then the full length dress, as well as the leggings. So I think I got this one because of that little raglan sleeve. I don't see myself making anything like this, but I mean, I could see myself making something like this with the short sleeve and like the shorter dress version, just like a little house dress almost, because I love a good knit dress where you could just throw it on and just, whew, leave me be. So this says it's a pullover tunic, and there's dresses options. They say close fitting through the bust. They have neck bands and a narrow hem. View A has side slits for the tunic here, so your thighs, you know, as you're walking, you have a little bit more wiggle room there. D has a back slit, so that full length dress has a back slit. And then the leggings, it says close fitting leggings with elasticized waistband, no side seams, and a stitched hem. Sometimes when there's patterns like this that feature something that I already have a tried and true pattern for, like the Jolie Clara leggings, which are my favorite leggings to make, I wouldn't even bother with this, really. But if you're someone who doesn't have a huge pattern stash and you're kind of just getting into sewing clothes, when you have something like this for the one price of one pattern that you can really dabble in using, the stretch knits in your stash, or maybe the same type of stretch knit to make a variety of garments, that's a good place to start because you'll have, the pattern pieces in there for it. And you don't have to go full length. If you're just trying to play around, maybe some scraps you have of stretch knits, you can always make these into just little shorts too. Okay. Okay, so that one, I think I grabbed this one because I really like the way that the short raglan sleeve looks on her. But I'd have to play around with this to see if it's really going to be up there in my list of patterns to do. Okay, next one. Oh, and sorry, that was McCall 7122, in case anybody is interested in looking that one up. McCall's or M7122. This next one I have here is Butterick pattern by Catherine Tilton, and this is B6565. If you are not familiar with the Tilton sisters, they have such a cool style. I feel like all the classes and stuff I've seen of them are like craftsy and back in the days. They do a lot of like cool color blocking stuff, different t-shirts where like one sleeve is one color. And I have garments that I've made like that after being inspired watching some of their works years ago. And so this is for the pants. So let's have a look. These are Mrs. Pants close fitting pants that are pull-on pants. And they have front and back yokes with back elastic. If we look at the line drawings here, you can see everywhere you see a line is basically a different chunk of fabric. So although here we're looking at it and both these samples have been done with just the one fabric all the way through, you could absolutely play around with a little bit of color blocking here and play around with some of these things. These are close fitting pull-on pants that have a front and back yokes. I'm trying to think. For fabrics, they're recommending stretch twill, some stretch poplins, stretch denim, stretch sateen, ponte, or double knits. So one, I have a lot of ponte knits in my stash. These are going to fit closer to the body, obviously, and they are recommending to have some type of a stretch in there, okay? Even if it's like the typical wovens that we would use for garments like a poplin or a denim or a twill, but they're asking for the stretch versions of them. So I think these could be comfy. I obviously would not wear that like that with like a tucked in shirt with the whole thing, but I think these would look cute with kind of like a shorter top that would go kind of to like the upper to mid hip area for me if they're going to be skinny like that on the leg. But it could be an option to, choose some really pretty pontes or like a bright colored ponte because they're pretty opaque since it's like a double knit. It's more like mid-weight or medium weight, thick. So I can use a funky color of the pants and then with a more neutral colored top that's a little bit looser. But I do like this thicker waistband option thing that they have going on here at the top. I feel like that would be comfy, especially with the stretch knit as well. Another one to consider. Next one. This is a pattern by Amy Barrickman for Indigo Essentials, and I have made this one several times. I made it out of a cotton chambray, just 100% cotton chambray. Of course, if you have a look, and I'll show you on the cover here, and we sold a bunch of these, I feel like. Didn't we sell this pattern back in the day? So can you see how from the bust you have this kind of line here? This is why it's important to look not just at the line drawings, but also on how the garment drapes on the model's body. So if you're thinking this is going to fit close to the body, you're mistaken if you use the fabric that it is calling for. Because this is like more for medium weight. You could do a chambray, and so it fits almost like a looser tunic because the fabric that we're working with here has more structure. It's more of a medium weight. So let's have a look. On the back here, it says a comfortable shirt available in 3 lengths. And you know what? I'm kind of in the mood to make a cropped one because I have a short torso, okay, and very high waist. And so if it says cropped, it usually hits me like right at the belt line of my jeans. It won't like be showing my midriff because I don't have that much torso at the top. I'm literally 2/3 legs and 1/3 torso. So if you're wondering what I'm talking about, like short torso, you might be resonating with that with like, oh yeah, my legs are super long compared to my torso height. And then considering that I'm about 5'7", 5'8", the legs are long and the torso is teensy. Okay, so this says it's a comfortable shirt available in 3 lengths. The short length falls mid-waist. The medium upper thigh and the long is tunic length. Okay, the shirt features bust darts and top stitching along the neckline and a curved hem, and the pattern includes sizes extra small to 3X. I'm pretty sure you can still find this one even if it's just on Etsy. I'm not sure if they're still selling, like if you look up Indigo Junction, look up Indigo Essentials, like that indigo with a Y, and see if you can find the pattern. Fabric requirements, it doesn't have it right here. It says it's inside. This is the one, obviously, that I have already made. That's the back. Okay. Where's the fabric? I want to see like the suggestions. See, and this can be a problem. Like every pattern is going to have its own thing. And so it's important to like look and see what the information is. It doesn't have it on the, I mean, I don't see it here. It must be somewhere. But it says see inside for fabric requirements for 60-inch wide fabric and notions. Anyway, it's a woven tunic. I have made it out of cotton chambray. You could make this also, I think, for a drapier look, and that might be what I do, is make it out of like a linen rayon, right? I don't wear it like this with a shirt underneath. I just wear it by itself with some leggings and shoes. Those of you that maybe remember seeing pictures of me from the grand opening when we opened our first studio back in 2017, I was wearing this to the grand opening, and we were selling the pattern, and I got a lot of great compliments on it, and I had the pattern there for sale, so that was fun. These are the 3 different lengths. You can see the top and everything is the same. It's just a different length. So the one model here, I love the way that this looks, and this is the medium length. So you see how it kind of hangs away from the body like that? That's because it's made from a woven. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Obviously, the drapier, the woven, the closer to the body it's going to fit, but I really like that, especially with that, like the skinny jeans and some cute little booties. I really like the way that that looks there. Okay, so that one, I think I'm going to revisit. All right. Yes, Lynette says with the short sleeve, you can wear a cardigan sweater in the cooler months for sure. Windless Original says that short sleeve raglan is cute. I agree. Let's keep going. This one is giving me all the cruise vibes, and I know I need cruise outfits, okay? I mean, I call them cruise outfits just because it gives you a reason to like make more clothes to wear on a cruise, but I live in Florida. Let's be real. It's like we're on a cruise here, okay? Tropical climates, I can wear all this stuff here. This is so cute. Okay, we have A, B, and C, and D, all these different views. This is a Butterick pattern B6224, and it says fast and easy. We have a look at the line drawings here. Let's get a little close-up since they're kind of small. You can see the drawings. This, I mean, and when you see something like this that doesn't have any buttons, buttonholes, there's nothing fancy going on, this I can tell right off the bat is going to be a super fast, quick, and easy make. This is like a little bolero or something. Oh, they're calling it a kimono. Very loose-fitting, unlined kimono, has mock bands. Says the loose-fitting jumpsuit has elasticated, let me see, loose-fitting jumpsuit has elasticized, seamed waist, tie end. You can do an optional one that's knotted, and side front pockets. And then D is tapered and all have stitched hems, it says. So this is like a little jumpsuit here that is shorts, kind of capri length, and then full length is what it looks like to me. And you know, now that I'm looking at it, I thought they were separates. Ugh, it's together. I don't know how that's going to look on me. Again, because of my proportions, right? So I need stuff that has a high rise, but then I need short in the torso. Otherwise, it ends up being too long from my shoulder seam to my bust. Most patterns have like, I usually have to shorten it here because from here to my bust to my waist is not a lot, right? It's not like stretched out for a long torso. So, see why it's important to look at these line drawings? I don't know, but this little kind of loose top here I think might work for me just as like a little throw over thing on top. I can make it in a funky color to throw over top of something that's a little bit more neutral. Let's see what else it says. The fabrics that it recommends are for lightweight wovens, challis, rayons, and linens. So maybe like a linen rayon would work. I'd have to play around with it and really like make a muslin or even pin the pattern pieces to myself to see kind of what is that rise looking like, because I don't do one pieces like that. Like it just, And Marie says definitely summer outfits for sure. Now, here's a pattern that is going to look totally different to most of the stuff that you'll see, even when we have a look at indie patterns. And remember, when I say indie patterns, I mean like independent pattern companies, like these ones that specialize in different things like plus size or specific body shapes or, you know, PDF patterns that they own, like the pattern company will only put out PDF patterns. There's some companies that do a lot of like mommy and me matching outfits where the silhouette is for a young girl and a woman and it's the same thing and both the patterns are included. So there's a lot of stuff going out there, you know, a lot of different options out there that are not part of like your typical commercial patterns, okay? This one here is an indie pattern by Sew Over It. This is a British brand. These are called the Ultimate Trousers and the models are drawings. This right here to me is kind of like a sketch, but it doesn't, I mean, I can see kind of the silhouette of the trousers, but it really is not, that don't help me, okay, because I don't look like these. So it's tricky to see like what exactly is the silhouette of this. And when we flip it over, you can kind of see that it's basic, you know, some basic pants and some basic shorts. They recommend for fabrics using woven cottons, corduroy, wool crepe, and denim, which for me is like a big range there of weights. So it's, I mean, like if I was going to do something like this, I would absolutely get online, hashtag Sew Over It Ultimate Trousers, and see if on Instagram and TikTok or whatever I could find images and or videos of this pattern having been made by somebody and seeing the body and what their take on it is, right? Because sometimes people will post it and say, I had to do this, that, and the other, or I'm this tall, I'm this short, this fit me like this. And so gathering all that information, that would help. Another great site that I do that type of research on is patternreview.com. People will make the pattern, post pictures of them in the garment, and then give you like a full review, kind of like a rating of all kinds of patterns, whether they're the big 4, big 5 companies, and different independent patterns too. So that's a great place. Patternreview.com has been around forever and a day, and that's another place that I go to do some research, okay? It has the body measurements here in UK sizes, which we all know is different to the US sizes, so I'm not going off of that. I would definitely go down here to where it says finished garment in inches, because that's going to allow me to get a better picture in my head of how this is going to fit. And just looking at this, I would probably be here. The measurements don't really match up exactly with mine, so somewhere here. Okay? It does tell you that the lower waist measurement here, it says the lower waist is approximately 2 inches below your navel, and the length is from the waist to the hem along the side seams. So this, and this one calls for a zipper too, by the way, because it's a woven. There's no stretch in this. I probably won't make this one. I don't even know really why I have it. It's not my jam. Like, unless I sat down and did a ton of research, there's nothing here that's really pulling me to like, okay, I absolutely have to make this one, and or it's worth the effort that I need to do to try and make this. But if somebody has made this one and you love it, let me know, because then that might that might make me change my mind, okay? All right, let's have another one. Grainline Scout Tee. This pattern back in the day was like the hottest thing. Everybody was making it because it is a woven t-shirt, okay, with cap sleeves and a scoop neck. It's fitted at the shoulders and falls into a more relaxed fit below the bust. Perfect on its own for spring and summer, and a great layering piece under blazers and cardigans for the rest of the year. I think because this is such like a wardrobe staple, and it's not like a knit t-shirt, it's woven, so it kind of elevates it a little bit more. I feel like that's how I feel when I wear woven tops that are not just plain stretch t-shirts. I think this was super popular. A lot of people were getting into sewing when this came out to try it out, and they were having great success with it and giving it a go, and then they were like bit by the sewing bug, so they kept going. The suggested fabrics for the Scout Tee are light to medium weight woven fabrics such as cotton, silk, lawn, voile, chambray, charmeuse, crepe de chine, or wool crepe. This is a lot here. And this is one of the things that I feel like a lot of beginners might grab this and say, oh, this is cute. It's pretty simple. I'm just learning to make clothes. Let me look at the fabrics. And when you look, you see cotton. You're like, haha, I'm a quilter. I have a lot of cotton. I would not make this in a quilting cotton. Okay, although it says light to medium weight wovens, and a medium, I would consider quilting cotton a medium weight woven. I'm sure there's plenty of people. They say they lost the video. Somebody said they lost the video. No? Are we on? Okay, good. I feel like some people will absolutely be able to make this in quilting cotton and it would look cute. For me, because I have a larger bust, there are no darts here at the bust. That's not going to work for me because the fabric is not going to drape really. It's just going to like stick out and it's going to tent out past the bust. I probably wouldn't do that in that, but in this linen rayon, I think that would look super cute because it's going to kind of flow a little bit more off my curves, right? It says extra fabric may also be needed to match plaid, stripes, or one-way print designs, meaning like directional stuff. Techniques, and it tells you what it's covering there, which is a great option to have on the back of a pattern. If you're new, you might be like, I know how to sew straight. Well, it says techniques involved include straight seams, and you're like, check, I can do that. And then it says applying bias facing, and you might be like, no, I can't do that. And then put the pattern back. But no, then there's set in sleeves, and there's some basic hemming. So not a lot. The difficulty here is rated as a beginner, and all you need in terms of notions is going to be thread. So fabric and thread, and you're going to be good to go. It has the body measurements here. I love, 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 and do not miss out on this, okay? If you're new to garment sewing, you pick up a pattern, it tells you body measurements, you find your body measurements and decide, okay, mine is here, I'm gonna make this one. Always check, if the pattern company gives it to you, this finished garment measurement here. This is huge because this is going to tell you how big the garment is going to finish the fabric itself once you're done sewing, assuming that you cut everything accurately and you sew the proper seam allowances. So you don't have to go from here and guess like, is it going to fit me tight on my bust or a little bit looser? You can look right here at the finished garment measurements and choose the size that you want to make based off of how big the shirt is going to fit. So if I want my bust to finish at 46.5 inches because I'm going to choose a linen rayon type of fabric and it's going to be flowy and I want it to be kind of a little bit looser around the bust, I can go here and make the size 16 instead of going up to the size 18, right? If I'm going just off of my bust measurement. So you can do that and choose, and oftentimes either size down or size up based on how much ease, whether positive ease or negative ease, the designer has included in that pattern, okay? So you can look and say, okay, if I cut the size 16 through and through without making any changes, that shirt is going to finish at 46.5 inches around the bust, 48.25 inches around my waist, and 50.75 inches around my hips. If your actual body measurements are all smaller than that, then guess what? You can breathe a sigh of relief and know that it will at least fit you. It might not fit you just how you want, but if you know that your measurements are smaller than those sizes across all three, then you know, okay, it's at least going to go over my body. And that's a great starting point, I think, to be if you're new to sewing clothes. Okay? And then it also tells you the length of the finished garment, which is great because if you have a short torso like me, you want to double check that. If you have a longer torso, you may want to check that too so that you don't end up with a shirt that was designed to be shorter on your body than where you like the bottom of your shirt to hit you. Okay? All right. Yes. Winless Original says finished garment measurements are very much appreciated. So helpful. Now, don't get it twisted. I mean, this is super helpful if they have it on the pattern. Not all pattern companies are going to do that for you. But what if you don't have any finished garment measurements? What do you think you all can do? If there's no chart in the inside the pattern, if there's no chart and maybe in the PDF and there's nothing on the pattern envelope, you can still get there without having cut any fabric or messed anything up. And I'm going to move on to the next pattern to see if anybody wants to answer that question. If I don't have finished garment measurements included in my pattern, how can I figure out the finished garment measurements before I start hacking into some pretty fabric? Okay, let's move on to the next one. And let me see. I'm waiting for somebody to answer my question. I'm such a teacher. Anybody? Anybody want to raise their hand out there and answer that question? All right, let's move on to this one. This is another indie pattern company, Leisel & Co. Okay, and this, have a look at the front, includes pattern pieces for A and B, C and D cup sizes. So if you're someone who dreads having to do a full bust adjustment, patterns that mention this are probably going to be a good place for you to start because you don't have to fuss with all that. You know, if you need a C cup, boom, you cut out the one for the C cup. Yes, I see the answers are rolling in. It says, Susan says, measure the pattern pieces. Winless Original says, measure the pattern pieces. Cheryl says, measure directly from the pattern pieces themselves. And that is correct. Grab your loose measuring tape. By the way, the best measuring tape for sewing clothes. My clip and slide measuring tape, we have them in the online shop. We restocked. These are made in Germany. They're the bomb because you can take your own measurements around any circumference width, your waist, your bust, your hips, your thigh circumference, your arm circumference, your biceps, anything, calf circumference, whatever it is. You start here at the beginning, 0, right? This is where 1 inch is. So you go there, you wrap it around whatever it is that you're measuring, your bust, your waist, your hips, and you snap this little red snap into here. And wherever that snaps, this red line here is the measurement. So you don't need anybody else to help you take your body measurements. You put it, cinch it up, kind of look at it, make sure it's parallel to the ground in the mirror, and then breathe kind of relax, stand up straight, so you don't have to be kind of hunched over like that, messing with the measurement, and just breathe, boom, boom, and then all you do while you're standing there is pop this off. You go like that, you look, turn it around, look at it, and whatever the measurement is, where the red line is on the slider here, is the measurement of that area, okay? So we sell these in our online shop. The link is in the description box below. Check it out. I saw last week they started selling a lot more. Some people were buying like 3, 4, and 5. They're great. They really are great to give as gifts, or if you're in some type of American Sewing Guild chapter, mention it to your guilds because they're definitely very helpful. All right, so yes, you would measure the actual pattern pieces minus any seam allowances. That is exactly right. So you would measure from where, size K or whatever the pattern size is, you measure, subtract your seam allowances, and that will be what the fabric will measure, okay? Which is super easy, especially if you're working with wovens. You don't have to deal with any of the stretch or anything. It's just what the fabric is gonna measure is what the fabric is gonna measure on your body. So this one, this is a cute one. It's giving a different take on a regular t-shirt, okay? This one comes in women's sizes extra small to XXL. The difficulty shows just 2 scissors, okay, instead of the hardest one, which would be 4. So it's kind of, I would say confident beginner maybe. This one says, it's called the Chai Tee, by the way, by Leisel & Co. And this one says, this simple and stylish pull on top is much more than a basic tee. It has an easy fit and is as comfortable to wear as your favorite t-shirt, but it brings a touch of elegance to every day with its shoulder yokes and pleats and its feminine shaping. Leave the sleeves uncuffed for view A, or stitch the cuffs in place to secure them, view B. The pattern comes with separate pieces for A, B, C, and D cup sizes to help you make a great fitting shirt. It is designed for lightweight cotton knit fabric with moderate stretch. This t-shirt can also be sewn from drapey woven fabrics, but you may need to go up a size or 2 for a good fit. I love that. So we've talked about this before in different patterns, like whether it's a pattern for a knit top and you want to make it woven, just size up because you need to account for that there's no stretch in that woven fabric you're trying to use, right? But you can also go the other way. You can take a woven pattern and make it in a knit by going the opposite, by maybe sizing down. It just depends on how much the design of the pattern is requiring it to stretch, or like what it's supposed to be doing, right, with that amount of stretch. But you can go either way. So if you see a pattern that's for stretch knits, it doesn't necessarily mean you cannot make it in a woven. It's just you may need to tweak some things both in the sizing and or what types of notions you use. Because if this is designed for a stretch knit, let's say, and it's supposed to go over your head easily, but you want to make it in a woven and you don't really size up enough for it to be able to stretch over your head, then it's not going to fit over your head, right? Because it was designed for a knit that is designed to stretch over your head. So you can't do the same thing and expect the fabric that doesn't stretch to still stretch over your head. So usually that's when you'll see something like a slit in the back neckline area with a keyhole opening and a button or something like that, just to allow that neckline to open up a little bit wider so you can get it over your head since you're using fabric that doesn't stretch. Make sense? Hopefully. All right. So these patterns, Lori's asking, are these patterns still available? We don't have them in our shop. This is from my personal stash, but just you can do a quick Google search and see who sells them. You might be able to find them on Etsy or even on the company site themselves. Okay, this is by Leisel & Co. All right, the notions for this one is just coordinating thread. I like it. I think I will make this one. All the different bust sizes here. This one goes up to a size... in the finished measurements, it goes up to a size 46 inch at the bust. It's going off of body measurements that have an upper bust measurement of 43.5. That's the XXL. So that's another thing with the indie patterns is that they're not going to, not all of them. It just depends on the company. There's so many independent pattern companies that you really just have to do research. If you see a pattern that you love, get on their website, check out the designer's size chart to understand how size inclusive they are. If you know you're on the larger end for some of the other pattern companies, you may want to consider looking at independent pattern companies that specialize specifically in plus sizes or just have like a huge range of sizing, okay? So that you can kind of either grade in between a couple of sizes or just have a larger range for you to pick from where your sizing can fit, okay? So I like that. It literally is exactly what the description says. It's just like a t-shirt, but like it's a little bit more zhuzhed up. Look at the little sleeves with a couple little pleats here that help with some shaping there, I think. I'm going to put this one in my other stash here because I definitely want to make that one. All right, next one I have here is this simplicity pattern that has a bunch of different views as well. And I remember when I bought this one, I used to buy and wear a lot of shirts like this. It was like a cuffed band right here, kind of in the forearm, like almost 3/4 length, and it's just like a dolman style kind of big bat wing sleeve. And I used to just wear that with jeans and leggings when I had kids and when I was nursing toddlers and all of that, and it was just comfy and easy going. So I remember buying this because I like that style of shirt. And now that I'm looking at it, there's some kind of breezy tank top options as well. This is kind of cute. It's a knit. It looks like a heathered knit for the neckband, the front, and the back here. But the upper back area is like a sheer lace. Kind of cute. And then this one looks like it has kind of like a petal overlap on the back is what I can see shining through there. So if we have a look at the line drawings, here, you can see that the whole front is just one piece. Kind of like my Westchester Dolman top, but obviously this is breezier and the bands are thicker and higher and they go longer. But that same kind of style where the front is all one pattern piece. B, there you see it, that kind of overlap that goes in at the back like that. C has that two-part back. The top was that lace and the bottom is the knit. And then D and E are the tank versions. Okay, so a lot of different options here. I don't know. I remember I used to wear this kind of stuff a lot. I don't really have garments like that in my closet anymore, but I'm going to set it aside. This one, it just looks like it's too bat wing here for her, like almost like this piece isn't long enough. It almost looks like they pulled down at the cuff just to make it go past her elbow, and it's like super stretched out here. I don't know. I'm not really feeling that. And this, I don't know. I don't know. Do you know? Phyllis says she likes this pattern. This is Simplicity 1463 for anybody that's interested. And this pack includes sizes extra, extra small to XXL, which is saying a pattern size up to a size 26, from a 4 to a 26, which we all know doesn't really mean nothing. We just need to go off the measurements because every pattern company comes up with their own size chart. So that's another thing. If you do not sew clothes, but you want to start making clothes, do not think that the size of clothes that you wear in the store is the size that you're going to be looking at here. Totally different beast. Okay? There's no set size chart in the US at least that everybody has to follow. That's why in one brand you might wear a size 12 and in another brand you might wear a 16. You might wear an 18. In another brand you might wear a size B. You know what I mean? Like everybody comes up with their own thing. It could be numbers, it could be letters, it could be whatever they want it to be. So the accurate way to select the right thing is to use your actual body measurements and go by body measurements. So this one does have finished garment measurements. So just going off of that, in case y'all are wondering, remember I said this goes up, pattern sizes up to XXL, and it says size 26 in the pattern size. The bust size that corresponds to that largest size in this pattern pack is a 60.5 inch bust. So 60 inches, 60.5 inches. For view B, the max size of the bust here at the largest size is 55 inches. So just off of whether you choose to make view A or view B, even if you make it in the same size, the largest size in this pack, the XXL, those tops are going to finish at a difference of 5.5 inches in the bust. So see what I'm saying? Like you have to go off the measurement, not just the size, okay? And then for views C, D, and E, the bust is smaller. It's 54.5 inches. So you actually, every time, whenever you can, go off of measurements, not just what they say. All right. Oh, good. Barbara says she got her measuring tape. Awesome. Okay. So this one. This one I'm definitely going to make, and I'll tell you why. This is Simplicity Pattern 8170. And what pulled me to this pattern was not all of this. It's this right here. The idea of color blocking this button-down woven shirt, I think, is just so cute. I can do a crazy print on the front and then just a solid for the back, or the other way around. I love being able to kind of, y'all know I love to add a good pop of color. I also love a good pop of an animal print. Something wild and crazy, or even just two bright colors. I think that would look so good here. This view B and view C have like this extra little bit of fat. I don't know. Is it like a cover on it? Let's have a look. Let's flip it over and see. I can't really tell. It doesn't look like it's like a separate little bolero kind of top thing. You see B and C, how this has like an extra piece of fabric here that flows over top. I'm not feeling that. That's this here. Do you see how that is there? And you can see it on this girl's shirt. Like this extra stuff here, I don't know what's going on. I'm not a fan of that. But this right here, and they have this option, but also with the long sleeve. Cute. So my jam is right here in this view E and D. This one is not buttoned down, but look, it's still the same color blocking vibe with long sleeves. That may be an option. Let's have a look and see what they're talking about in terms of fabric here. So this is kind of cool and different, y'all, because this is a combination. It is sized, so for A, B, C, D, and E, sleeves only and the back of the shirt. So not that front color blocked area that I showed you in white before, okay, not this. We're talking sleeves and the back. The same thing here, sleeves and the back of the shirt are sized for stretch knits only. Okay, things like jersey, stretch velvet, they're recommending. Then the front or that front overlay for views B and C are for batiks, challis, crepe de chine, double georgette, and silky, other silky types of fabrics basically. Extra fabric is needed to match the plaid stripes or one-way designs. So that combination of a stretch for the sleeves and the back, I can feel super comfy, right? If you have broad shoulders, you're gonna have good enough of room back there to stretch. It's not gonna be like cinched up like sometimes people find that all woven tops are. And then the front is just like a light woven drapey bit, kind of like how this shirt is, right? With some buttons down the front. This combination is super cute, I think. This, you can tell they just used like a black jersey, and this is like a dark blue jersey that they combined with that front bit for the overlay of those kind of silky fabrics. So I have to really come up with what exactly I want to do for this, but I do like this vibe. I think that's super cute, and I think that will give you more wiggle room too in terms of body weight fluctuations and changes. That's probably a top that you can keep in your closet and not feel like you completely you know, like if you gain some weight and you completely outgrow it. You know, when you wear like a tight woven top that like, if I keep my arms down, it looks great. But if you're trying to put something in the overhead compartment of an airplane, it has no give. It's not helping you out. You know what I mean? So if you have some stretch on the back and the sleeves, you're going to have that wiggle room with the front still kind of giving that, you know, crisp look of a woven. I like it. This one is sizes 14 through 22. And it goes up, it says bust measurement for body measurements up to 44 inches in the bust. So it says 14 to 22, but in ready-to-wear sizes, a size 44 at the bust is nowhere near a 22. So remember, you have to go off of the body measurements. And so down here at the bottom, it says finished garment measurements that already include the ease, right, the positive ease or how drapey they want it to fit on you. The largest size in this pattern pack will fit, the finished top itself will be 51 inches at the bust, okay? And that's plenty, at least for me. So this is the right pack for me. Because that's the thing too. If you have bought some of these and you've gained some weight or you've lost some weight over the years, you may have a size range that doesn't accommodate what your body is like now. So that's another thing I had to do, was go through these pattern packages and pull out the ones that I could still fit into, right? And some of them I would just get like both in case, because back in the days I kind of used to be in between both size packs, and that way I have a little bit more option. But that's something to keep in mind too, because not everybody is Jali that has 28 different sizes and you can just like, I'll do this one today, or you know, 2 years later make this one. So make sure that you have ones that will accommodate your body measurements, and then you can give it a go. Next one, how cute is this? This is so cute. I think this is so cute. It's like simple enough to be so easy, but so cutesy that it can be dressy, okay? With jeans, with little, with slacks, with whatever, little skinny jeans, distressed jeans, I could totally rock this. This is giving, I'm feminine, but I want to be comfy. So A, B, C, and D, we have 4 looks here. You can see A. These are the back views. So the back is split up into two, it has back panels, right? Left and right side. B and C. B, I'm guessing, is the short sleeve, and C is this longer sleeve that kind of, can y'all even see that? That has like the little ties that stick out. You see how this side goes out, and then those are narrow, long ties like that, so you can tie it into a little bow at the sleeve. Is that what she has? No, she has the regular ones, but that's this guy here. Okay, with the little ties there. And then D is a shorter ruffle at the sleeve, but still with that front belly tie. That's cute. D also. Okay, so you can kind of play around with what you want the finished one to look like. Recommended fabrics are batiks, challis, cotton types, crepe de chine, double georgette, lightweight linen types, seersucker, silky types of fabric as well. And then it just tells you, you need extra fabric to match plaid stripes and whatever. This right here, I ain't doing all of that, okay? They matched all the stripes on a diagonal. That's cute. It's amazing. It's gorgeous. I'm not bothering with that. But if I did a stripe, you would have to do that because you have a seam going down the middle, and that would look a mess right down your center front if it didn't. But that's cute. That's cute. Okay. Same thing here. You need thread. It calls for 1 3/8 inch button, and I'm guessing it's in the back because since this is designed for wovens, to get it over your head like that, remember what I was just talking about earlier, you need to have it open wider to fit over top of your head, and then you close it up. So usually tops like that will have a button, which of course this one does. So 1 3/8 inch button, and then it just says 1 2 inch length of elastic cord. Okay? I think that is so cute. And now it said batiks, but like when we think batiks, we're thinking quilting cotton batiks. I would not make this out of a batik. I mean, it wouldn't work for me. It's like a little bit too stiff. It's such a densely woven fabric. No, not for me. The chalets, crepe de chine, double georgettes, lightweight, kind of like the rayon linen type of things. So I'm going to go through my stash and see what I think might work for this. But this I think is super, super cute. Obviously go with the finished garment measurements. I'm just checking here real quick. The biggest 3 sizes finish at the bust at 44.5 inches, 46.5, and 48.5 inches for this one. And this is Simplicity D0890, and it is labeled as an easy to sew. So D0890 for Simplicity. Elizabeth says, that's why I use indie patterns. I can just project a new size from the same pattern. They have a larger range of sizes. And I think that's why the independent pattern company has, independent pattern world has really taken off. Because you can, 1, find a pattern for absolutely almost anything you need. And 2, find it in your size from one company or another. Okay? Yeah, Windless Original says the same thing. I think a batik would be too stiff for that pattern. And that's the thing with garments is that you say cotton, but if you're saying cotton to a quilter, we're thinking cotton, like what we use for quilts, quilting cotton, right? But if you say cotton to a garment sewer, they might be thinking a cotton shirting, right? Or like a cotton lawn. Those are thinner than a quilting cotton. So just because they all say 100% cotton doesn't mean that it's the same weight necessarily. So when we're talking about drapey fabric, we want to make sure that the fabric is going to drape. All right. Next one, Butterick B6563. If y'all don't know who Gertie is, check her out. If you kind of like this whole pinup model vintage vibe, she has amazing patterns that are just way too involved. They look amazing. I could never get into that world, but it's so many parts, so many pieces. It's like amazing work. With the whole corset thing, a lot of boning and all this kind of stuff. It really, I mean, if you want to see well-made garments, definitely check out Patterns by Gertie. You can check out her website, see her stuff, and like what her pattern makers and what the students that make her stuff make, because it's, I mean, it's amazing stuff. All right, this one is a button-down top. It's A, B, and C. We have 3 different views. This one says that it's a loose-fitting button front top that has shaped hemline and a collar with a couple different sleeve variations. View B has a bow tie, and views B and C have a pocket. So if you're doing something like this and you want to just try it out but not go through the whole thing, I would do it like I did this Jolie Florence top, where the first one that I go through to see how everything looks and fits and all that, I make it without the pockets. Right? Because all those kind of little added things, I want to be spending my time, effort, and fabric on it as finishing touches almost. Like if I know, okay, this is going to be so cute, I love it, love it, love it, let me put the pockets on, let me finish the whole look. I would probably make this one sleeveless with no pockets just to give it a go, right? And you can kind of perfect everything, where the bust darts are, where you know, how you want the torso part to fit, how wide do I need to grade between sizes here at the waistline. I can already look by seeing the models here and even how it's fitting her here that it's kind of sized for more of an hourglass figure. So like if you don't have an hourglass figure-ish, you're probably going to have to make some serious adjustments. When I see them like that, for me, usually I'm like, okay, that will work for me because I have a larger difference from waist to hips than I do. You know, some people are kind of more straight up and down between waist and hips. And so you There's pattern companies that are just for that. So you don't have to be dealing with the grading out to the hips in the patterns that you're making, okay? But I thought this was cute just to, you know, add another something in there with wovens. The recommended fabrics for this pattern are cotton blends, crepe, broadcloth, chambrays, ginghams, and it says it's unsuitable for obvious diagonals. Okay. I like the way she, like the fabric that she used here. You could do a little bow tie, no bow tie, just like button down with the sleeves. These little little cap sleeves are kind of cute. And then it has like a puffier, longer sleeve option there too. So still, you know, a few different options if you need something specific. I think something like this would also look cute. Seeing this fabric print that she used here with little cherries, this would be cute if you have an event that you could use some type of a cotton fabric that is like a novelty print, you know? Say you like sell dog collars and you go to a dog show. How cute would that be to have like a paw print fabric? You know what I mean? Like those type of things where you're like dressy and cute, but like funny and funky at the same time because it's like a novelty print, but you're dressing it up because you made it. I think that would be so cute for something like this, because I would totally do that. This would look cute. Can you imagine going to a Gator football game with a shirt like that, Brandon, made out of with a little blue or orange bow tie? Right? Like it's cutesy, dressy, but just like themed and funny at the same time. I think, yeah, cute, cute, cute. Okay, next ones I have here is another indie pattern company that is called Cashmerette. Many of you probably are very familiar with Cashmerette, and it specifically says sewing for curves. So if you are a plus size or mid size, whatever they call them these days, this is definitely a pattern company to check out because there's a lot of options. I have not made any of these yet. Obviously, that's why I'm pulling them out of my stash, although I have bought them in the past. This Dartmouth top, this is exactly like perfect for me and my body type. This little sleeve, a knit that's kind of almost like ruched at the waistline to pull in to give you that hourglass figure look. I used to have shirts like this. I mean, if I saw one that fit me like this, I would buy it in 5 colors. That's how much I like this type. So when I saw this, I was like, yeah, I need to get it. I don't know why I haven't made it because I've had this pattern for years, for sure. This is a short sleeve option. This is a long sleeve. This is called the Dartmouth top. It includes sizes 12 to 32, and again, like we just mentioned with that one Leisel & Co. pattern, this also has cup sizes that go from C to H, okay? The Dartmouth top is a crossover jersey top with 2 variations, a classic fixed wrap or a modern ruched front, and features 3 sleeve lengths and a gape-free banded neckline. It's the perfect partner for your favorite jeans. Sounds like something I would love. So view A here shows the ruched front with short, mid-length, or long sleeves. Okay, so you have short, mid-length, or long sleeves. And then view B shows a flat front without the ruching, okay? Short, mid-length, or long sleeves. So you can do a combination of the different sleeve lengths and end up making a bunch of different tops, right? Some short sleeves, some mid-length, some long, some ruched, some flat. So that whole combo, you can do a bunch. Fabrics that are recommended, mid-weight knit fabrics, such as cotton or rayon jersey with at least, this is the only pattern that we've seen here, right, that says how much stretch so far to have. So not every pattern company is going to include the same amount of information, so be very careful with that too. With at least 50% crosswise stretch, and it says it's not suitable for slinky or slippery fabrics. The supplies you'll need are a ballpoint or stretch needle. A twin needle is optional, like for the hemming. Thread, 18 inches of 1/4 inch wide woven elastic, and it says don't use clear elastic. Easy enough. I definitely have all that stuff. And then it has finished garment measurements, very important down here. For the largest size here, this says size 12 to 32, I said. The size 32 finished bust measurement for the CD cup pattern pieces, if you use that, it's going to finish at 57 1/8 inch. For E and F, we'll finish at 58 1/8, and the GH will finish at 59 1/8. So almost 60-inch bust measurement for finished garment measurement. So if you know that your bust measures less than 60 inches, you can, you know, figure out what size you have here to make it in, okay? What else? And then it just has the fabric requirements in meters and then in yards up here. Yeah. Cute. This one I will definitely need to make. Like for sure, hands down, because if I'm building my entire wardrobe from scratch, simple shirts like this are going to be a must-have. Really cute. I like that it's kind of longer here too. So you see how it goes down past their hip to like mid-hip area? I like it. Okay, next one is another pattern by Cashmerette called the Ames jeans. The only jeans pattern that I have used before to make a couple pairs of jeans is the ginger jeans, which are super popular, but a lot of people like the Ames jeans. Like if they sized out of the ginger jeans, I feel like this was the plus size option that a lot of people got. And this one is or includes sizes 12 to 28. And it says here specifically apple and pear fit. So I wanted to read to y'all off of the Cashmerette website what exactly that means, because maybe you have come across these and thought, I have no idea what that is or which one I would choose. So view A is designed to fit an apple pelvis and has a skinny leg fit to the jean. So apple pelvis, it says you are likely going to be best in the apple pelvis fit if you typically find that pant waistbands are constricting and the back, bum, and thigh area is a bit baggy. Typically, the pant waistbands cut in when the pants fit your hips. You have a straighter hip curve rather than a very curved one. So if you're more straight up and down from waist to hip, right? And if you have a low hip to waist ratio, you are more, you're likely to have a better fit with the apple pelvis option. So that's view A here. View B says pear pelvis with a straight leg fit, okay? For the pear pelvis fit, it says you're likely going to be best in the pear pelvis fit if typically you find that pant waistbands gape at the back but are tight through the hips. Conversely, when pants fit you in the hips, the waistband is much too big. You have a very curved hip line and you have a higher hip to waist ratio. So if you recall what I was talking about earlier, for me, I would be more pear pelvis shape for the jeans because I have a big difference, okay, in the ratio from waist to hips on my body. So I would likely, start working with this one to see what changes and stuff I'd have to do. In terms of finished garment measurements, it's right here on the back, so we don't even have to dig into the pattern or to the pattern envelope to figure it out or to see what it is, okay? Here, we said sizes 12 through 28. The body measurements are right here. So for waist, it goes up to a waist measurement of 48 inches. For the hip, if you're choosing the apple one, it goes up to 58 inches. And if you're the pear pelvis option, up to 59 inches. So if your hip measurements are less than that, okay, but no less than say 42 or 43 inches at the smaller size 12, then you could fit into this size range. The finished garment measurements for pear pelvis, let's see, that was view B. The widest section there at the hip is going to be 55 and a quarter inches. The thigh at the straight leg, it's telling you the dimension. Circumference of a thigh at 34 and a quarter. At the knee, 23 and 3/8. And at the calf, 20 and 7/8. So they have all those measurements there for you to measure for both views, A and B. Okay, so definitely something to look at and consider. And it also says that the finished inseam is 30 inches and the waistband is supposed to hit at the belly button height. So you have all these extra little things that kind of help you decide, does that fit? Will it not? Is it close enough? I think I can make that work. That's important to me, right? If we're talking about fit and how you think it's going to fit and all that. And then the supplies, of course, some denims, jeans. You need regular thread, a top stitching needle, top stitching thread, the zipper, one jeans button, and some rivets. So I'm going to put this one in the to make pile because I would like to make it and try something else out that's different to the ginger jeans that I have made with the modifications we made to the ginger jeans on mine. Okay? Last but not least, my Westchester Dolman top pattern. Y'all have probably seen me wear a bunch of these. I've been making them for years. I'm going to make some more, and it is just, and I'll open this up. This is a free PDF pattern that we offer called the Westchester Dolman top. This is the front. This is the back. It's Dolman style. You can see me wearing it here. The whole front piece is one piece, and then we have bands at the sleeves, and then we have a band also that we attach at the neckline. It comes in sizes small through 3XL, but it is designed to fit close to the body like this. If you want something that's loose, this is not going to be for you. Like, you probably won't like it. Not to say it's not for you, but you're not going to like it, so probably don't get into it, right? Because it's designed to be loose fitting. And so this is what I tell my students is, if the pattern as is, as you're seeing it in the line drawings, as you're seeing it on the models, is not something that you could see yourself wearing, or that it calls to you like, oh my gosh, I need to make that. That would look so cute. Or that looks like a lot of the tops that I wear and have. There's so many more patterns out there, y'all. Just find one that looks like something that you want to make, right? You don't have to force it, because a lot of times I find the students are like, well, I like that, but I want the neckline higher. I want the sleeves to cover my biceps. I don't want it to be snug at the hips. My waist is bigger than my hips, so I need this chain. It's like, by the time you get into all of that, just pick a pattern that's closer, right, to what you want. So if it's made for stretch knits and you say, I don't like to wear stretch knits, I want to make something that's 100% cotton, how can I make it so that it fits over my head? What if I cut it down the middle and add buttons? Find a pattern that has that already, so that you are not basically redrafting something from scratch. Because trust me, by the time you change this and try another muslin, make more changes, make another muslin, make another change, make another muslin, you're not going to want to sew. You're not going to want to sew. So try to find a pattern that starts off closely to what you envision, and you're still probably going to have to make some modifications, but it'll be a lot less than having to redraft a pattern that was not initially designed for what you have in mind. Okay? So Terry says, I have the pattern and the fabric since last year and still have to get to it. Oh, you totally should. Once you make it, you're going to see it comes together so quickly. You're going to be wondering why you took so long to do it. So y'all can just do a quick search for Crafty Gemini, type in Westchester Dolman top, and the free PDF page will pop up. You can download the PDF for free, and then I have a free, I believe it's 7-part video series where I walk you through every single step on how to make it. And so that is like an awesome introduction to sewing clothes, working with stretch knits, where I'm giving you the pattern for free and I'm teaching you how to make it all the way from the beginning to the end, including grading the pattern, because I go up from the waist to the hips to the neck size up. So I show you exactly how to do that, how to cut out the pattern, how to cut out the pieces, how to sew it, how to measure your neck band so you don't have a gaping stretch knit neck band and it lies flat against your neck, all of that stuff. So if you want to get into sewing clothes, definitely check out my free pattern for the Westchester Dolman top. Of course, if you like that style and your size is included in there. Okay? Janice says, I love the Westchester. I made this long sleeve, super cute. I wear it often. I need to make more. Awesome. I love to hear that, Janice. Thank you. Cheryl says, I loved making your Westchester easy and flattering. Thank you. I love that. I mean, I have like, I think I made like a dozen of those. I made it long sleeve, V-neck, tunic length, dress length. I have also like a separate bundle of a course that we sell, but it's basically in addition to, it's called the Westchester Dolman Top Hack Pack, and I show you how to hack the free pattern to make it into all those different things. Short sleeve, full long sleeve, V-neck, how to raise and lower the neckline depending on the look that you want. What else? The tunic length, a dress, like a longer dress length. It's like 6 or 7 hacks or something that we have in there. And that's like a bundle of video courses that you can get to. So if you make the free pattern and you like it and you want to change it up and you're like, okay, this fits me good, now I just need to switch it up and try all the different things, that hack pack bundle would be good for you. All right, Susan says, I like that pattern. My problem is I cannot find fabric I like. That's probably the part that takes the longest for a lot of us, is choosing the right fabric. It helps to have a stash of just stuff that you collect over the years, but then, you know, because if you buy it and you have it and you feel the amount of stretch or how it drapes, that gives you kind of a good idea of what types of projects you can use it for. But if you're like me, the old fabric stays in the stash and then you just buy new fabric. So that's what I'm doing now, is I'm getting better at it, is digging through my bins and being like, oh my gosh, I forgot I had this. I should totally make this and this and this out of this fabric. So that's what I'm going to be doing too. So Terry says, where do we find the hacks, please? So if you go to CraftyGemini.com, or if you go to Google, type in Crafty Gemini Hack Pack Westchester, just like that, and it'll pop up right for you. Okay, it's a hack pack bundle specifically for the Westchester Dolman top. So you can just do a little search for that and it'll pop right up. All right. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Hi, Linda. She says, that was fun. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, so I'm going to be going through this, and I'm going to be taking y'all for a ride, because as I go through patterns, as I make them, I'm going to be sharing what happened, what went well, what went wrong, what was an epic fail, what I liked, what I didn't like, what I had to do. And so if you want to participate with me on this journey of sewing more clothes for my closet, I announced recently that I am trying to transition over my entire wardrobe into everything me made. So it's going to take me a while, but it's going to be fun. So one piece at a time, that's how I'm going to get there. I made myself a little bralette the other day. Got to make some underwear, got to make some pajamas, got to make some like house shirt, you know, like a little bit of everything, not just stuff to go out in. I need everything. So Yeah. That's what I'll be doing. If you want to stay in the loop, and sometimes maybe you don't catch me on YouTube or on social media, make sure that you sign up for our email newsletter. Go to craftygemini.com/newsletter, and that way you can add your email address there, and that will keep you in the loop because I send everything out via email to all my newsletter subscribers. If you like what we do, the classes we offer, you want to get in on sales, coupon codes, first dibs when we sell certain kits and fabrics and things because they sell out pretty fast. The best way to be the first one to find out is to be on that email newsletter list, so definitely do that. If you enjoyed today's video, go ahead and give this a thumbs up, and if you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe because I do plan to add some new stuff to the channel that are not just live streams coming up soon. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in today. Thank you for your great questions and for partaking in this fun little pattern kind of haul that I have here from my old stash of sewing patterns. So enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. I hope you find some time to do some sewing, and I will see y'all in the next video.